In an increasingly volatile and unpredictable global economic scenario, many of us find ourselves facing a crucial dilemma. What is the best way to protect and grow our wealth? Financial instability, market fluctuations, rising inflation, and political uncertainty force us to rethink our investment strategies. In such challenging times, the search for solutions that provide not only security but also sustainable long-term growth becomes an urgent priority for anyone looking to ensure a stable and prosperous financial future. For many, an increasingly relevant and powerful answer may lie in an investment option that, despite its growing popularity, is still misunderstood or misinterpreted by a large part of the population. Bitcoin. The cryptocurrency, which started as a financial experiment for technology and innovation enthusiasts, is now positioning itself as a real alternative to the traditional financial system, with a potential for appreciation that could surpass older and more established assets, such as gold and silver, two of the most traditional and trusted forms of investment. In today's video, we will explore in more depth and detail how Bitcoin is consolidating itself as a solid and growing store of value with the power to transform the global financial landscape. The question that arises is, what does this mean for you and your personal finances? Does Bitcoin represent a unique opportunity, a chance to anticipate the future and protect your wealth against uncertainties? Or is it, as many fear, just a bubble about to burst? The answer to these questions could change the way you view your financial future and the decisions you will need to make to prepare for the years to come. Now more than ever, the time to act is now. We are at a historical turning point where today's decisions will profoundly shape our economic future. Bitcoin, which was initially seen as a novelty for technology enthusiasts or a niche investment, is now consolidating itself as a currency of growing value with immense transformative potential. It is no longer a distant or futuristic option. Bitcoin is becoming a real store of value, accessible to all, and is constantly appreciating. This ongoing growth is positioning the cryptocurrency to surpass not only the value of gold but also silver, two assets that have historically been symbols of financial stability and protection against inflation. Meanwhile, our local currency, the real, continues to lose its value at a rapid pace as Brazil faces rising inflation and an economic slowdown. The reality is harsh. The purchasing power of the real decreases every day, making it more difficult for Brazilians to maintain and grow their savings without the impact of inflation progressively eroding that value. This loss of purchasing power is one of the biggest threats to the financial well-being of families, especially those without access to investments that can actually protect their wealth in the long term. On the other hand, silver, which has been a traditional form of protection and a globally recognized tangible asset, continues to maintain its value but no longer holds the same explosive appreciation potential that Bitcoin is demonstrating, especially in light of global changes and the growing acceptance of this cryptocurrency. Silver, with its ability to protect against inflation and act as a safe haven in times of crisis, is still a valid option for portfolio diversification. However, in terms of rapid appreciation and long-term profitability, Bitcoin is standing out as the best option for those seeking substantial growth. In this scenario, the most important lesson we must learn is that more than looking at the current price of these currencies, what really matters in the long run is how many units of gold, silver, or Bitcoin you own. By accumulating these assets, you are not only protecting your wealth against future uncertainties, but you are also building a solid foundation to ensure a more secure and prosperous financial future. The economic train is already in motion, and those who anticipate these changes will have a strategic advantage. Thus, those who decide to prepare for these new financial realities will be better positioned to thrive when the winds of the economy shift. The time to act is now. The global economic landscape is constantly evolving, and those who decide to anticipate these changes will be in a privileged position. Your journey toward gold, silver, and Bitcoin is about to begin, and with it, a journey of financial transformation that could change the course of your life. Well-informed decisions, coupled with a keen eye on economic trends, have the power to profoundly and durably alter the course of your financial future. By investing today, you are not just putting your money into a currency, but creating a future where your financial security will be much more solid and prepared to face the challenges that tomorrow may bring. Don't miss this chance to anticipate the future and secure your place in the new economic landscape that is about to unfold. If you still have doubts about Bitcoin or how to invest in gold and silver, it's essential to understand that these are not just passing trends or speculative investments. They represent a fundamental shift in how the world views value, currency, and wealth preservation. Investing in tangible and digital assets like Bitcoin, gold, and silver is more than just a financial strategy. It's a conscious choice to stay ahead of a global financial system that is rapidly transforming. Therefore, now is the time to act wisely and make choices that will ensure a future of financial freedom for you and your family. I want to share with you a bit of my personal experience, which is closely connected to the financial lessons I've learned throughout my life. My journey began in 1974, when I was just 17 years old. At that time, I was a young college student, still immature, and not fully understanding the value of the things around me. I remember being at home and looking at a 10-cent coin, which had a copper edge mixed with the dollar. Back then, I didn't know exactly what this meant, but something inside me told me it wasn't normal to see that copper on the coin, which made me suspicious. I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't quite understand why. At that moment, there was a law called gration, which was an important concept for people who were trying to better understand the value of coins. This law said that over time, it was possible to distinguish between what was genuine and what was fake, based on a few details. Somehow, even though I was very young and didn't have a full education, I could tell that those copper-edged coins were not authentic. Something inside me said it didn't make sense, and that something as simple as a coin could mean much more than it seemed. This instinctive experience made me question the value of things in a way that would stay with me for the rest of my life. Back then, I was also a big fan of golf, and to support this hobby, I started working as a caddy, carrying the players' clubs. I didn't earn much, but it was enough to cover my expenses and keep me active. With the money I earned, I started saving. Instead of spending it all, I decided to put my money in the bank, but I also wanted something more tangible and reliable. I began exchanging rolls of 10-cent coins for half-dollars. I did this regularly, which over time allowed me to accumulate several different coins. I didn't yet know how important this habit would be later on, but it taught me the importance of saving and accumulating. My relationship with coins and the value of money was further transformed by a significant event that happened later. I went to study at New York University, and when I returned home, I found a situation that deeply marked me. My mother, not fully understanding the value of what I had accumulated, had spent all my coins. She didn't know how to distinguish between genuine coins and counterfeit ones, and as a result, all the effort I had put into gathering the coins was lost. This episode was a turning point in my life. It made me realize that understanding the value of money and coins was crucial to building a stable and secure financial future. It was there that I understood that true wealth isn't just about how much you earn, but how you manage and recognize the value of what you possess. Another crucial moment that shaped my view on finance happened when I went to Vietnam in January 1972. My father, who was already a wealthy man at the time, sent me a letter as soon as I arrived in the country. However, the mail was extremely slow, and I only received it after some time. In the letter, he warned me about a big change that was about to happen in the global financial system. He spoke about President Nixon, who had taken the dollar off the gold standard, something I didn't fully understand at the time. My father advised me to stay alert because the world was about to undergo a deep economic transformation. What he was telling me was that the global financial system was detaching from the gold standard, a historical anchor that had maintained economic stability. The impact of this decision was immense. The gold standard, which had until then been considered a solid base for the value of currencies, was abandoned, and this caused a complete restructuring of the global economy. From that point on, currencies were no longer backed by gold, and countries began adopting a more flexible financial system, based on trust and national monetary policies, which completely altered the dynamics of money's value. This was one of the major turning points in economic history, showing how changes in the financial system can deeply affect people's lives. What is happening today with Bitcoin is an evolution of this type of change. We are living through another economic transformation, but now with a new digital technology gaining strength. Bitcoin, like gold and silver in the past, has the potential to become the new store of value, redefining the global financial landscape. Just like in the past, when those who understood the importance of gold and silver positioned themselves to take advantage of opportunities, now Bitcoin is presenting itself as the currency of the future. What you can do now is anticipate this change, acquire Bitcoin while it is still accessible, and prepare for the financial future that is rapidly approaching. Gold and silver have always been seen as safe stores of value, but Bitcoin brings with it a new paradigm. It has the potential to revolutionize the way we understand money and financial value in the modern world. Don't miss this opportunity to stay ahead of your time and ensure that your finances are prepared for what's to come. I want to share with you an important part of my journey and the financial lessons I've learned over the years. In 1933, during the Great Depression in the United States, the government banned citizens from owning gold. This drastic measure by Franklin D. Roosevelt was an attempt to combat the economic crisis, with the justification that the accumulation of gold in private hands was making it difficult for the central government to issue more currency and stimulate the economy. For many, this seemed incomprehensible, but it was a forced reality at the time. Even in my youth, I didn't fully understand what it meant to own gold or why it was considered such an important asset. I didn't know that, besides being a tangible and secure asset, gold had always been seen as a solid and reliable store of value, especially in times of crisis. My journey with gold, however, started in an unexpected and somewhat accidental way. In 1971, with the end of the gold standard, the U.S. government, under President Richard Nixon, took the U.S. dollar off the gold standard, devaluing the currency and creating a scenario of global economic instability. It was in this context that, alongside my co-pilot, I made an incursion into enemy lines in Vietnam. North Vietnamese troops had advanced to the south, and in that region, there were gold mines. We went there with the goal of trading gold. At the time, the price of gold was around $35 an ounce. This was my first direct interaction with the gold market. Upon arriving at the gold trade, I was attended to by a Vietnamese woman who, with red-stained teeth, explained the local market in simple terms. I was trying to negotiate gold at a small discount, thinking I could benefit from the transaction, but she, without hesitation, rejected my offer. The woman insisted that the gold was stained. I confess that at the time, I didn't fully understand what she meant by stained, but soon I realized that, despite my lack of knowledge about the gold market, this woman knew more about finance and markets than my co-pilot and I put together. She demonstrated a deep understanding of the value of gold, while I was just beginning to comprehend the true importance of owning tangible assets. At that time, I didn't buy any gold, but this experience opened my eyes to the world of precious metal trading and later to the importance of accumulating resources that would actually retain their value over time. Gold, since then, has become a symbol of financial security for me. I remember when I bought my first gold coin. It cost about $50. At that moment, I didn't know what it could represent in the future, but I decided to keep it. Today, that small piece of gold is worth around $2,000. That was the beginning of my strategy to accumulate precious metals. Today, I'm a strong advocate of not keeping money in fiat currencies like the US dollar, which I consider increasingly unpredictable and volatile. That's why I decided to store gold, silver, and, more recently, Bitcoin. The reason? In 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, the U.S. government effectively devalued the dollar, making it a fiat currency without backing, subject to inflation and monetary manipulation. Today, with the economic crisis caused by the pandemic and excessive money printing, the situation is even more dire. In 2020, the U.S. printed more money than in all of the previous 200 years combined. This made the currency lose even more of its value. People who still hold money in dollars should reconsider their financial strategies. If possible, it's time to start acquiring safer assets, such as gold, silver, or even Bitcoin. Right now, you can buy a silver eagle for around $30, an affordable price for most people. But surprisingly, many still believe that paper money is a safe way to store money, when in reality, it is constantly losing value. In the 1970s, when I left the U.S. Marine Corps, if I had $1 million, which I didn't have at the time, I could have put that amount in a savings account with a certificate of deposit and received 15% annual interest. This meant that with $1 million, I could live comfortably with enough interest to cover my expenses. However, if today I go to the bank with $2 million, the most I could get would be 2% interest, which would represent a loss of purchasing power due to inflation. In fact, since 1974, the value of the US dollar has lost more than 90% of its real value. This is why I consider it crazy to continue saving money in dollars, euros, or pesos. People are still taught to save money, but the reality is that traditional money, like the dollar, is no longer a good store of value. This leads me to believe that the financial future lies in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. In 2000, I started buying gold for $250 per ounce, and today, the same gold is worth about 10 times more. Similarly, I bought Bitcoin at $9,000, and although it hasn't reached the value I expect, I believe it could reach over $1 million per unit in the future. The value of Bitcoin is not tied to trust in the government or the Federal Reserve, but to the decentralized system itself and the trust users have in the cryptocurrency. What really attracts me to Bitcoin is the fact that it is a digital currency with a limited supply. Unlike the dollar or other fiat currencies, which governments can print without restrictions, Bitcoin has a finite supply, which means that over time, it tends to appreciate. Even if the value of fiat currencies like the dollar, euro, and yen continues to fall, Bitcoin, on the other hand, has the potential for appreciation since its supply is limited. I am a strong advocate for Bitcoin, just as I am for gold and silver. The history of fiat currencies is marked by the decline in their value over time, while Bitcoin is just beginning to show its potential for financial transformation. Those who position themselves now by buying gold, silver, or Bitcoin may be building a more secure and robust financial future. Continuing to store silver the same way I store gold, and now buying Bitcoin. These are decisions that could transform your financial life in the future. Over the years, I've seen traditional currencies depreciating, while assets like gold, silver, and more recently Bitcoin stand out as solid stores of value. People who bought gold, silver, or Bitcoin, and let's say now live in Argentina, are much wealthier today than those who chose to save pesos. In times of crisis, the difference between financial decisions made in the past can determine your security in the future. However, even when the crisis comes to an end, the fundamental problems will continue to plague our society and economy. The national debt of the United States, for example, has already reached alarming figures, and a considerable portion of the population depends on subsidies to survive. This puts our pensions at risk, in addition to exacerbating an economic situation that is rapidly deteriorating. The gross domestic product, GDP, of the country is being pressured like never before. Public debt has already reached 30% of GDP, representing 90% of the national debt. If this debt-to-GDP ratio exceeds 90% and reaches 130%, the country will no longer be able to pay its debts, which would trigger an unprecedented financial crisis. What would this mean for the average citizen? In a desperate attempt to deal with this situation, the government would likely resort to printing more money, whether in pesos, counterfeit dollars, reals, or euros, or any other fiat currency you are saving in today. This is one of the great threats we face: out-of-control inflation, which depreciates the purchasing power of money. And it is in this scenario that assets like gold, silver, and Bitcoin come into play, offering a form of protection against the depreciation of traditional currencies, as the value of these assets tends to be preserved, unlike fiat money. Unlike traditional currencies, which can be manipulated and devalued at any time, the value of gold, silver, and Bitcoin has the ability to withstand inflation and economic crises. If you are saving or investing in these assets, your wealth will be much more protected. For me, Bitcoin is one of the best examples of this protection. When I decided to acquire Bitcoin, the price was $9,000, which at the time seemed like a risky bet, especially considering that gold was trading for only $180 per ounce. Buying Bitcoin back then seemed uncertain and risky, but today, looking at the value of Bitcoin, I can confidently say it was one of the best financial decisions I made. Bitcoin has appreciated significantly, and this has given me the confidence to continue investing. Today, I plan to buy even more Bitcoin. I believe it could reach $50,000 or more in the coming years. As for gold, which has also been a reliable store of value, it could reach prices close to $15,000 per ounce in the not-too-distant future, and silver, in turn, could reach as much as $2,000 per ounce. If you are not investing in these assets right now, you are missing an opportunity that could change your life. I know people who, just like me, made the right financial decisions in the past. A friend who worked with me in the Marine Corps, for example, was on the first list to acquire Bitcoin. Today, he owns thousands of Bitcoins and has become a mega millionaire simply by investing in this digital asset when it was still accessible. What I've learned from this experience is that the concept of rich dad teaches us a valuable lesson. Being alongside investors is key to creating lasting wealth. It doesn't matter how challenging it may seem to go back to college or become a professional in traditional fields like medicine or law. The crucial point here is that, at this moment in history, you have the opportunity to invest in assets that can preserve the value of your money in the future. Don't let this chance pass you by. Acquiring a bit of silver, gold, and Bitcoin could be the first step to securing your family's financial future and building a lasting legacy. What we want to convey in this video goes far beyond simple financial advice. Our goal is to make a true call to action and a change in mindset, because we believe that we are living in a unique moment in human history where the financial choices of today will have a direct impact on each of our futures. We are facing an unprecedented era of economic uncertainty, where traditional currencies are being devalued constantly, and global economies, including those of developed countries, are increasingly burdened by astronomical debts. Inflation and financial instability are becoming more evident, and it is in this scenario that people need to understand the urgency of protecting and multiplying their wealth through real, tangible assets like gold, silver, and Bitcoin. These assets are not just a form of protection against out-of-control inflation and the devaluation of fiat currencies, but also a powerful tool for preserving and even multiplying your wealth over time. Gold and silver, for example, have been considered safe havens for millennia, while Bitcoin, a digital and financial revolution, has already established itself as an increasingly relevant reserve asset in the global scenario. What we are trying to highlight is that, while traditional currencies lose value every day, the accumulation of these real assets can be a solid strategy for building a more robust and resilient financial foundation over time. Our commitment to you is genuine. We are here to be partners in your journey toward financial independence, providing the knowledge and guidance necessary for you to make informed decisions. With every step you take toward your financial goal, with every action you take, you are closer to achieving a life of freedom and stability. Remember that financial success doesn't happen overnight. It is built with patience, persistence, and above all, a growth mindset and careful planning. We firmly believe that, with the right mindset and the right choices, it is entirely possible to achieve the financial freedom that many consider unattainable. Don't underestimate the power of information and knowledge. In times like the present, understanding economic movements and knowing where to place your money is more important than ever. What is at stake here is your future, and what you decide to do today can determine how you will be positioned in the years to come. So share this video with your friends, family, and colleagues so more people can benefit from this message of hope and transformation. By doing so, you will be helping others make financial decisions that will positively impact their lives and transform their perspective on financial security. True wealth is not just in what you have, but in how you use the resources you already possess. God has already given you the tools necessary to change your life. What you have today, even if it seems small, can be transformed into something much bigger if used intelligently and strategically. Every day is a new opportunity to make smarter choices, to learn more, and to invest wisely. What you do with what you have now can directly impact your financial future, and that's why we should never underestimate the importance of every decision we make. Investing in your future is not just a matter of luck, but of conscious planning and sound actions. The road to success may be long and challenging, but with determination, discipline, and a future-oriented mindset, you can achieve any goal you set for yourself. No matter the size of your goal or the obstacles you face along the way, the important thing is to stay focused and move forward, always seeking to learn, evolve, and improve. With each small action, you build your foundation for a secure and prosperous financial future. So, we are in this journey together. If you continue seeking knowledge, keep your mind open to new opportunities, and keep investing in your growth, success will be inevitable. Don't be afraid to invest in the future, to take the first step toward your success. Believe in your potential, in the power of your choices, and above all, never forget that success starts within you. The financial future you desire is within your reach, and with the commitment to keep moving forward, there are no limits to what you can achieve. Success always.